Welcome to Anguilla. With a population of just under 16,000 and 33 beaches listed in the official guide, we set off to explore as much of the island over the next 12 days. At the end of this video, we'll have a breakdown of the costs and some tips for visiting Anguilla. It's known primarily for its high-end resorts, but we wanted to find local places to visit at a more affordable budget. It's relatively straightforward to get to from Canada, and while there aren't any direct flights yet, I hear they're working on it. It's 4.5 hours to fly direct to Saint Martin International Airport from Toronto or New York, and a short 20 to 30 minute ferry ride over to Anguilla. On this trip, we spent 2 weeks here, followed by a week in Saint Martin, so check out our other videos on the neighboring island as well. Anguilla is sometimes affectionately known as the Rock, as we saw in some of the signs around. The island remains a British overseas territory, responsible for its own self-governance, with assistance from the UK. There are actually Dutch side and French side ferry docks in Saint Martin to take you to the Blowing Hole Terminal in Anguilla. The Dutch operate near the airport and makes it convenient with free transfers to the ferry from your arrival flight. On the other hand, the public ferry in Marigot on the French side is a great choice at about half the cost, if you're willing to give up the convenience of departing right from the airport. For us, we arrived too late to hop onto a ferry after we landed, plus we also wanted to check out the cheaper alternative. A taxi ride from the airport to the Marigot public ferry is $20, so it's still much cheaper even with this factored in. It's well organized. There's a ticket booth that opens about 30 to 40 minutes before the scheduled departure time, where you'll get a boarding pass at the first ticket window. You then head to the next ticket window to pay a €5 departure tax. The ferry ride costs $30 US and you pay in cash on board. On the return trip, you'll actually pay before you board. Plus, the Anguilla government charges a $28 US departure tax for visitors staying longer than a day. There's a new waiting lounge on both the Marigot and Blowing Hole terminals, and the ferry runs mostly on time. It was really windy for the entire trip, and the boat was a bit too bouncy for Dave, but like I said, it's only 20 minutes.
It's only a 20-minute ride.
Oh yeah, I'll get seasick for sure.
Anguilla is a bit larger than French and Dutch Saint Martin combined. It's anchored by the East End and West End villages, as it's appropriately named. Fun fact, in 2023, the Anguilla government raked in about $32 million leasing out their .ai country domain and expects to double that with its 2024 earnings. Much of that is being funneled into the tourism industry with an extension of the airport runway so that larger planes can land here. Who knows, this could be the tipping point for a change to come in Anguilla. Anguilla is an island of beaches. There are 33 beaches in total, but we were able to visit just 16 of them. The majority of these also happen to be the most popular ones, for good reason, as you'll see. You definitely need a car rental, if not for a few days, then for the duration of your trip if you want to explore them. There's a great beach map, so be sure to pick one up, and it's free. Enough of the orientation, let's go beach hopping. Our first beach was gorgeous Shoal Bay on the East End. Even though it was so windy for the entire 12 days that we were here, it was still swimmable despite the stronger surf. It looks calm on camera, but there was a good current pushing you around in the water. There's a fancy resort on one end, but it's not intrusive and fairly far away. You'll find easy parking too at all of the popular beaches. This beach is pretty exposed, with no trees to find shelter, so either find yourself a beach chair and umbrella at one of the beach shacks or bring your own. There's no shortage of places to eat and drink, and I love that many of them offer free beach chairs if you buy a meal there. That seems to be the general consensus at most of the beach shacks, unlike Saint Martin where it's a hefty additional charge. Another area to park is right by Tropical Sunset Bar, which has a large sea grape tree so you can enjoy the shade. If you want a little seclusion, walk further over to the east end, and as you round the bend, you'll have the beach to yourself at Upper Shoal Bay. Time for a little shopping break. If you're looking for great quality t-shirts and beachwear, head to Irie Life. There's one in the East End as well as on Sandy Ground. I loved everything in the shop.
I got my sunshirts set. I got another one here from Anguilla. That's nice. I like it.
Another fun spot on the East End is Savannah Bay, where we parked and used it as a base to hike over to secluded Captain's Bay and beyond. It's quite exposed to the sun, so be sure to bring a hat and load up on the sunscreen. Once a month, the Anguilla National Trust organizes a group hike to the Windward Point Lighthouse area. I've added a link in the description for you. At Savannah Bay, you'll see kite surfers on the far end, but it's nice and calm right by the parking area. And there's Nat's Palm Grove for lunch. We met the man himself there who was so proud of the homemade Johnny cakes. They made for a great sandwich. If you're not staying in the East End, a fun day trip is to hike to Captain's Bay, lunch at Palm Grove or in the village, and then head over to Shoal Bay. Sile Bay on the far southeast side turned out to be a bit of a miss, and the road got pretty rough, so we stopped and walked down a bit. A little further past Sile Bay, we stopped for a hot minute at Sandy Hill Bay. Definitely quiet, and there's no development here if you're looking to escape that, but the beach isn't as nice. The north central part of the island does have a beach or two worth visiting, one being Little Bay. Most visit by boat, but to get here by land, you have to hike a short path in from the road, and you can rappel down on a flimsy rope if you dare, but there's only one way back up. The little hike to the lookout is quite nice. To get to the lookout by land, look for the Annie Art Academy sign, and there's a little area for about 2 cars off the side of the road to park. Crocus Bay next door has a nice local feel, and there isn't a large visible resort dominating it. The shoreline is a bit pebbly, but easy enough to walk barefoot. It was definitely calm on this day, and there's a lot of shady coconut trees to sit under. Sandy ground is lively, relatively speaking, especially when the cruise ships dock just offshore. It's exactly as the name suggests, with shallow, calm waters and a sandy beach to walk along. Lots of beach shacks here too to stop at, with a mix of local fishermen and yachts moored here. Don't forget to head up to Back Street for a scenic view overlooking the bay. All my favorite beaches are in the West End. Close to where we stayed is Rendezvous Bay with a long stretch, and it's great for walks. The sand is fine and the beach is generally calm, although because of the wind, had a little bit more wave action than usual. You'll find a few beach shacks dotting the beach, and at the far end there's the Aurora Anguilla, a very fancy monster resort right beside the famous Banky Banks Beach Bar. Meads Bay is definitely my number one pick because of the calm and super clear waters. The sand is great too, and hey, it's the home of Blanchard's restaurant. Sunday afternoon at Meads Bay. We have it to ourselves. Not a soul on the beach. Just around the bend from Meads Bay is Long Bay Beach. We tried getting to it, but it's not accessible unless you walk through some thick brush and construction, so not recommended. I read after that you can park at the Q Hotel near the entrance and walk down. They seem to be very welcoming, and you can visit their Coral Beach Bar too. As far west as you can go, another nice detour is a visit to the Anguilla Arch. It's a dirt road to get there, but our little car handled it like a champ. Shoal Bay West was pretty famous back in the day, with celebrities hanging out there at the distinctive Cove Castle Resort. It was designed by a guy named Goldfinger. I kid you not. Today it's deserted and in ruins after it fell apart in 2018. The shoreline is a little rocky, so I'd say Shoal Bay East is the winner here. Maundays Bay is a quiet, small stretch, albeit a little rocky in parts. There's the American University right here on the beach. I don't know how much studying I'd do if I were a student here, though. You could hop over and check out the Four Seasons Resort further up the beach. Maundays Bay is the most exclusive beach I think on the island, with the Cap Juluca Belmont Hotel completely surrounding the entire bay. At the guard gate, just let them know you're here to visit the beach. A tip we were told is to let them know you're going to a Pim's restaurant and you can park at the lot closer to the beach entrance. Maybe save you an extra minute or two walking with all that beach gear. I'm really torn over this beach. The water itself is stunning, and the area for public visitors is quite nice with shady coconut trees. But it's entirely surrounded by the resort here and not really my cup of tea, unless of course I'm staying here. Just over is Cove Bay, and you'd think it's similar to Maundays, but it's quite different. The shoreline is just slightly rocky and definitely not as calm. If you want a beach to yourself though, this is it. We met Bob and Cynthia, a couple of Canadians, while out on one of the beaches, and they've actually walked on all 33 beaches over the years. That wasn't in the cards for us on this trip as it turns out, and in the end we were happy to stick to the top 10 list. While we made most of our meals, it was interesting to check out a couple local joints. Coconos is always popular and likely you'll be the only tourist there, so you know it's authentic. It's located just up from the ferry terminal. There's seating inside, but we did take out. Ask for the fried chicken. It's not on the menu, and if you know, you know, it's so good. Barbecue huts are a big thing on the island, especially on Fridays or Saturdays. The barbecue hut is open almost every day, and it's definitely a good option. Owned by Venezuelans by way of Trinidad, they serve their ribs with a variety of homemade sauces that are just outstanding. You'll probably pass the Anguilla Tennis Academy near the ferry terminal. It's a distinctive building designed by none other than, Mr. Goldfinger pro bono. It drew Dave in as he loves to talk tennis with anyone willing to listen. We met Tristan, the tennis director, and found out that it's run as a non-profit academy geared to help local kids achieve university education through the sport. The courts are well maintained, set up for pickleball as well, and the public can stop and hit a few balls with a pro. There's no question, Anguilla has beautiful beaches. We found that on all of the popular beaches, there are large, sprawling resorts, so you don't get that castaway vibe. That said, the beaches are generally long and you can spread out without feeling crowded. Many of the popular beaches to visit are on the west end, and it's an easy drive over to Shoal Bay East for a day trip if you wanted. I like that the beaches are easily accessible and very welcoming, despite the large resorts that dominate most of them. Beyond the beach and the glitzy resorts, there are no museums or visible relics of its past. Development is scattered throughout, one area merging into the other seamlessly, and you'll know you're in a different community by way of the small grocery stores dotting the main road. Keep watching as we'll share a budget breakdown and tips. If you enjoyed watching this video, please help us out with a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. We read all of the comments too, so we'd love if you dropped us a line. This was an add-on to our Saint Martin trip, and we spent an extra $2,000 US or $3,000 Canadian for 2 people over 12 nights, not including the airfare to get to Saint Martin. At least that's the way I like to justify it. You won't find the British pound being used here despite its status as a British overseas territory, but the Eastern Caribbean dollar, or EC for short, is the official currency. Even still, all businesses accept the US dollar, and many places take credit cards, so you don't need a lot of cash on you. In the restaurants geared towards tourists, prices are listed in US dollar, and there's usually an automatic tip and tax added on. About 28% extra in total, so it can add up quickly. To get here, there's an airport you can fly into. However, the ferry is the most economical way, especially the public ferry, which costs $30 one way, versus $75 for the private ferry charters from the Saint Martin airport. Rental car agencies are mostly locally owned and reasonably priced for an expensive island, especially if you choose a small economy car like we did. The roads aren't too bad, except when you get into some side roads, and even then, going slowly over the dirt roads was fine in our little car. The car rentals charge extra for collision damage and loss insurance, but your credit card can cover that for the most part. Just check with your card policy. As for liability insurance, we were told it's not really a thing on the island, so we took a chance and didn't look for coverage on this. We had no issues with the car rental from Junie's. A friendly check-in was waiting for us with the car right at the ferry dock, and off we went exploring. There's no shortage of grocery stores here, all are locally owned. The biggest selection is at the Best Buy West, and groceries are relatively more expensive than what we're used to, and also compared to Saint Martin.
Yeah, when I saw these prices, I was freaking out. Like, wow. But everything's in EC currency, which is about $1 US gets you 2.68. So not as bad as I thought. So this works out to about $8.
We spent half our time staying at Patsy's Seaside Villas, a locally owned family business run by Patsy, who is just the nicest person around, and she'll go above and beyond. It is conveniently located right next door to the ferry terminal, and you get an amazing view of the waterfront where you can watch the ferries go back and forth. Book direct for the best rates, and she can arrange car, ferry, and accommodations at a bundled discount. I prefer the lower floor apartments as I like to just walk out on the beach, but the upper floors definitely have a great view both inside and out on the balcony. I also would recommend staying put in one location in Anguilla, as it's easy to get from one end of the island to the other in no time. We liked the beaches in the west end more, and there's more going on here than in the east end. So Patsy's is a great location being just outside of the west end, affordable and beachfront. We did stay at a local apartment near Shoal Bay in the East End for the first 5 nights, but we found it to be a bit too quiet for us. As well, there were fewer nicer beaches to visit, and we found ourselves heading west. At the end of each day, we loved to walk along the beach right outside our door. You can also catch both sunrise and sunsets here too. If you're looking for laid-back vibes, beaches, and more beaches, then this may just be the island for you. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next trip.